Hello, 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 friends. Nicholas here with DIVO, TED Talks, Devoted Talks, where we take ancient wisdom and practices taken through a modern lens and experience to help you and those you love in suffering in your personal and greater worlds. Oh, my friends, I just had a bout of inspiration, and so I will go down that road. Most of us have heard of the story of Don Quixote and how taking on that. Whew, I got scared by the machine coming on. You'll hear something going on in the background. Um, but we've heard of this what Quixotic attitude, right? This fighting windmills, right? Having these monsters in your head that aren't real, but the delusion is so appealing and so alluring. You get swept away in it to the point that you are, you know, in the delusion fully. I think there's arguments to be made and had about certain political people currently to be doing that, especially when they're sending hospital ships that are in dry dock to another country to help them, but it's not actually happening. I don't know. Anyway, but in a greater sense, as I've been living in this current iteration of life and current, way of approaching things, um, you know, people are fighting their ideas of people in their head and on social media. I mean, you can see in the way that the responses come across that they're not actually directly addressing either the person or the ideas. They're all arguing and, conversing outside of it, but against their projections of that person. They're projecting the enemies that they are trying to best in this situation. Perhaps their old images of self, right? Like used to be ignorant or used to be a liberal or used to be one thing or another, and you're trying to fight against what you were before, right? Fighting against this monster or this deficiency that you are aware of. And in reality, it's not truly there. And you can see it, especially online, like I was saying, when the people are arguing and you're talking and you're like, who are you talking to? That's not even what I said, nor what you're arguing making any sense whatsoever. And it goes back to this Don Quixote type thing where somebody is fighting windmills that they have perceived as monsters, and there is this grandiose story unfolding while the person's eyes are open. And I think Yoga and Ayurveda talk about this. They talk about enlightenment being the light that helps us differentiate whether we're looking at a snake or a rope on the ground and whether we're safe or not in that moment. And yet, those who are shrouded in darkness will perceive that rope as a snake and find an enemy or find a threat to their life where none exists. And so they're protective or trying to kill a rope or trying to do things that aren't productive because it isn't tethered to the truth. It isn't tethered to the light, and it isn't tethered to reality. And that's not saying that these people don't believe what they're saying. I've wholly believed, just like Don Quixote, I believe, was fully committed to this thing, not as a commitment level, but as this was his reality, and this is what he was doing to participate in it. And he was all there enough that he would fight a windmill. I mean, it is also kind of funny that our president hates windmills. Like I can't believe I haven't seen that yet. And maybe that his name is Don and Don. I don't know. It is kind of funny, like the way he talks about fucking windmills. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss, and sorry. I don't want to get too political, but all of a sudden I just saw those parallels, just like, has anybody said this? Why don't we talk about this? Why haven't we talked about this? Ah, back to the matter at hand. If you are shrouded in darkness and obscurity, and the people around you are shrouded in darkness and obscurity, and you guys are in contention with each other, if you don't take the time to find out if you guys are shrouded in illusions, then you may be wasting time, energy, and honestly goodwill for no reason. And so sometimes I do engage because I need to put my energy somewhere. If I didn't let it out, if I just bottled it up or just worked out, it wouldn't find a means to an end for me. And so sometimes writing it, whether I get a response or not, or fully forming my ideas externally is more productive to me than ignoring it or just letting it go. Letting it go and or ignoring it may be the right answer for you, but you have to get in tune with yourself to know what that is. And maybe maybe I am illusioning myself, um but very oh, what's the word? Sophisticatedly. um but it what am I trying to say? While I understand that I may still be in illusion, it's the best I know how to be right now, and that I do trust the universe to show me when I'm ready how to move forward if I am in illusion or need to change or I'm ready to change. I have a lot of trust in the universe to guide me. Sometimes I don't understand it and sometimes I get frustrated, but that isn't promised to me. Not being frustrated and understanding everything has not been promised to me. But what has been promised to me is that what I think about, I bring about. And so if I continue to focus on things that I don't like, I'm often going to get more of those, right? Because I'm going to be attracted to that and my actions are going to be all influenced by that. And so in many ways, I just predetermine my actions or my situations because I am drawing myself to it by the energy that I'm putting out and, working within. So for sake of not getting too lost in there, how clear are you on whether you are looking at a rope or a snake, a true threat or just an imagined one? How would you figure that out? Well, putting the shine or putting the light of awareness on the things that you are looking at and truly observing them, right? And if it's something you haven't observed before, it may take time to figure out, am I safe or am I not safe? Am I burning the candle at both ends for no reason? Or am I legitimately standing up or reacting the way I want to? I choose to believe that I am evaluating the things as best I can. I may find out later that I wasn't in any given moment, so that I am showing up authentically and not within a dogma and not within some structure that was given to me. It's not that I doubt everything, but most of the time I would prefer to witness or understand things on my own and then come to my conclusion rather than have somebody else tell me. In biology, for a long time, I did just use the science that I was taught. But over time, after witnessing the system, especially at higher levels and at leading edge technologies and research, I learned that I couldn't trust everything that I was being told because it was more about revenue than it was necessarily about the results, because the results or the potential for results were the avenue towards money. And so that's not true of every place. That's not true of every institution, but it was something that I started to see and witness, which then helped me be more clear about what I could or couldn't trust, or whether I needed to take everything with a grain of salt or not. And that's all yoga and Ayurveda is calling you to, is taking the beat, shining the light of awareness on it, whether you're meditating on it or whether you are waiting until you have a sound mind and temperament so that you can contemplate on these things, whether it's your life, whether it's your business, whether it's relationships or things in general, so that you understand it clearly. And then you can adjust what is important to you and what you should or shouldn't or would benefit most or not from participating in. And that's really where it's at. It's all about cost benefit analysis, right? Pros and cons. But if you're not actually clear on what it is you're talking about, at least for the moment, then it's not a 1-for-1 ratio. It's not necessarily it's equanimous. Equanimity. It's not in equanimity. And so that's what we're trying to do there. You want to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges and spades to spades so that you're on the same page and that how you're showing up is valid. Not valid because it's right or wrong, but valid because it is in alignment with what is being discussed at that moment or observed at that moment, right? If you come in talking about windmills as monsters and that they're the monsters and you have to save Dulcinea from them, and everybody else can see a windmill, well, they may just label you the crazy person and write a story about you. But until then, be well and be free.